Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is a fun day because we're going to be getting the underside of the car painted with this Raptor Liner kit that we got here. And we're also going to be doing the seam sealer on both the bottom and the inside of the car, and also be doing a top coat on the inside of the car. So I did a couple of things since last video, or I showed a small clip of me painting the inside of the car in the last video, which was supposed to be dedicated to just getting the underside restored a little bit. So I'm gonna walk around the car and just show you guys what state it's in now. Okay, so we're inside the booth here. The paint smell is extremely strong, but basically I had finished this up a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I finished putting the primer on the undercarriage. So yesterday I finished painting the inside, which I'll show you in a second, but I also had a few spots that I had to come and touch up here that I guess weren't prepped well enough, that were bubbling up, so you can kind of see it's the thickness is a little different than the original coat, but I had to just scuff it down, or I took it back to bare metal and I scuffed around it, and then I put 1 more or 2 more coats of the epoxy primer on like that spot, and then there was a couple other small spots here, here, and then down there, which I have painted again. So underside is good. If I come around here, the engine bay is still dirty. That'll be dealt with at a later date. But right now I'm just focusing on the bigger areas, like inside the car. I also got the roof painted as well, so you can see everything is nice and clean. It was all stripped down at one point. I might show a clip here as well. But yeah, it took definitely a long time to get it cleaned up. It was super dirty initially. A lot of rust down here in the floor pan. You can see some of the spots I had to weld back in some new sheet metal. But yeah, now everything is nice and cleanly coated with epoxy primer. So the goal in here is to just get everything painted with a black urethane 2K 1-stage top coat. So that'll be going in here today as well, and that'll pretty much finish up the inside of the car for a while. And I also just primed the roof of the car while it's on its side like this, and I have it in the booth, just so I don't have to do that later. And I'm glad I did, because it was pretty easy to sand it down like this and not have to worry about it anymore, so that's good to go. So for the back of the car, you can see I stripped down most of the trunk. This huge space for the spare tire was stripped down, all cleaned to bare metal. So was this. You can see I had to do some more welding back here. We're going to put seam sealer all on top of that as well, and then also, of course, on the seams inside the car. But for areas down here, so both on the underside of the car and over here, so this was pretty badly rusted. I'm not sure what happened back here previously with the car, but it looks like someone had tried to repair something and did a very poor job at it, which is why it looks so messy. There was like a bunch of filler and stuff down there, but there's still rust there. Same thing in this top section. So I'm leaving this for when I move the car, and I'll work on it later when it's back on the ground and rolling again, because that's going to probably take some more time, and then I'll have to clean everything else up back here and then do another quick spray of primer. But while I have the booth set up, I just wanted to go ahead and get majority of the painting done, which you can see I have already, so everything's nice and clean. Of course, there still needs to be the rest of the body still needs to be sanded down, but of course I can't really, reach all the way up there when the car's like this, so that'll all be happening when the car is rolling again. And then the engine bay is going to be shaved, so that's a whole different project that will happen at another date. I'm looking in here. I'm not excited to work on this part because of how difficult it is to access back here and get all that cleaned up, but it's a challenge for another day. But for now, I just sprayed this last night, so it's still within the recoat time. So that should be easy enough to just wipe it down again and get the top coat sprayed on it. Shouldn't be too hard. And then over here, so I just have to go through with a little pad and scuff the entire underside, because this has already been cured for a couple weeks now. So I'm just going to scuff that up and get it ready for the Raptor Liner. But before the Raptor Liner, also the seam sealer that we're going to be putting on all these seams and everything here. So it's a lot of stuff planned for today. I'm hoping it goes smoothly. It shouldn't be too bad because, most of the stuff that takes time with this is the prep work. but the inside's already painted and it's within the recoat time, so I don't have to worry about prepping too much, just wiping everything down, and then the scuffing on this epoxy doesn't take too long. Just getting some scratches in it so the Raptor can stick to it nicely. But other than that, not too much prep we have to do. We have all the products we need. I'll walk back over there and show you real quick. So this is the Raptor Liner kit I got from Amazon. It came with 8 of these things. I think one kit usually comes with 4. I ordered the bigger one that comes with basically double the amount. So it comes with a spray gun, and then 4, and then 2 things of the hardener or activator. So I wasn't sure how much I'm going to need for the underside of the car. I want it to not run out, or I want it to have more than I needed, if anything. So that's why I ordered this one. I think it was like 200 something bucks. I'll put the exact price on the screen and also probably a link in the description. And then for the seam sealer, we have this 3M. I have one open. We have this 3M heavy bodied seam sealer 08308. So yeah, this is a 2K product. So we mixed both these parts. It goes through this little tube, and then you just put it onto the car. So that's that. That's the primer I used. That's the 2K epoxy primer I used yesterday. I got a gallon of both the primer and the activator. So it's 2 gallons of sprayable paint. And I used about, I still have a lot left, but I'll be saving that for all the other parts of the car. I'll still have a bunch of door panels, the engine bay, the trunk, eventually when I get back to that part that I need to use that for. So I have enough for when the time comes to spray that. I also have this, I think it says on here, yeah, this paint sprayer, this cup liner kit. So these are super great. It makes mixing these batches super easy. So basically, you can see I have the dirty one from yesterday, but it has all the measurements on here for you. So you just pour in your mixture, and it'll tell you if you're doing like 3 to 1, which is what the top coat is. So I'll use that today. So you do you pour like 3 parts of your main ingredient, and then 1 part of your other one, and it has the markings there for that. So that's cool. And then also makes it even better is these little disposable liners. Pretty much you just throw them in there, and then you fill it up, and then they get dirty, and you toss them out when you're done. So that's super easy for mixing up different batches. And the way that they attach on to this little top part in the gun, which I'll probably show you before I actually start painting, but it's super easy to have like 2 of these mixed up, which I did yesterday. I had 2 cups mixed up because I was spraying so much surface area in the car that as soon as I was finished with 1 cup, I just popped one off and then switched to the other one. So that was super quick. And then for the top coat, it's in the house. Let me go get it real quick. Okay, so this is the top coat I have for the inside of the car. It's just a 2K urethane single stage top coat in black. I hope it didn't say in there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it should be black. That's what I asked the guy for. But yeah, I pretty much just picked this up and also the primer up at just my local automotive paint store. Okay, yeah, this is the hardener that it came with. So this was a kit. I think together this was like, or for the kit at least, it's probably more than I need. But then again, I can always use leftover for other products I have. I'm trying to find the receipt. I think I threw it away. This was like 200 something bucks, maybe 300 bucks for the urethane kit for the top coat. And then and the primer's actually not too bad. It was like $125 for each of the gallons, which isn't too bad because you get a lot of coverable surface area with that amount. So yeah, not too bad if you're doing, that'll pretty much cover a whole car, I think. Okay, yeah, so those are all the materials we have for today. So the first step that we will be doing is going inside and scuffing the entire underside of the car because I see epoxy that's been sitting for like a week or over a week now. So it needs to be scuffed down, and then I'll probably blow it off and then degrease that. So we'll do that now. All right, so I worked my way around the whole car with the scuff pad, and just left some scratches. You can't really see them. They're pretty fine. It was just the Brillo pad I was using, but just scratches enough to give the seam sealer something to grab onto. So now I'm actually going to crack open the first can of seam sealer and start hitting up all these seams around the entire undercarriage, and then I'm going to go over the inside and do the inside as well. All right, so first bottle. See, we got this thing here too to squeeze it out. Just gonna crack this cap off. Get rid of this thing, I don't need it. And grab one of the mixing nozzles and put it on there. And then tighten this retaining nut back down. Actually, missed a step. So it said to, before you do all that, to just make sure that these were coming out in equal parts. So I'm gonna put this in here first. And then set the gun in place. All right, so I'm gonna give it a couple squeezes, small, and make sure, all right, those are both coming out now. All right, now I'm gonna put this back on. And now we should be good to start mixing. So you'll see them going through the tube, mixing together. And it said to lay down a few beads, a couple of inches. That should be good enough so that you know that they're mixed together thoroughly. All right, so I think that's good. Do another one just to make sure it's all mixed together. All right, that should be fine. Then this has a 6-minute working time, which is pretty short, so I'm gonna take this right over to the car and start laying this down. All right, so I just finished up my first bottle, and if you're curious at all about how this stuff covers, which I really was curious to see how much coverage I would get out of that one tube when I was buying it, but I wasn't sure. I really couldn't find any good references online. So I just finished the first one, and this is the amount I was able to get done. So I would say most of the undercarriage pretty much. I still have the wheel wells to do, and then a few other spots back there, and then on the top side over here as well. I could easily finish the rest of this with just one more of that bottle. I have 3 more, or actually 4 more, so we'll see what I'm left with after I do the inside as well. So I'm gonna keep going here. Okay, so we're finally all done with the seam sealer. And as you can see, I also went ahead and masked off all the spots I didn't want to get any Raptor Liner on. Just used some tape to cover those up. But yep, this is the seam sealer. I ended up using about like 2.5 the tubes that I got. So I definitely did not need all 5 of them, which is great for me because I can return those other 2 because they were super expensive for some reason. But let me show you the inside as well. So here's the inside. Not as many seams that need to be sealed here, so just the ones that were going underneath the car, or the gaps that lead to places underneath the car. So got all those sealed up, everything there, the wheel wells. I saw some of the spots I didn't take off all of the original seam sealer, so you can see that's why I didn't have to go back over them there. But places that I did in the trunk, I covered up as well. The only thing I have left to do is just run a tack rag over everything to get off any dust that's fallen since I started working today. But after that, I'll be ready to start spraying. Yeah, so I'm gonna just tack everything down, and then the next clip will probably be me mixing the paint and then spraying. All right, guys, so we're all done spraying the car, and it's actually been sitting here now for about a week or two curing, like 2 weeks curing. And it came out really, really nice. So I'm going to walk around and show you guys what it looks like up close. Okay, so here is the Raptor up close. You can see it has a really nice texture to it. I didn't want it to be too coarse, and it came out pretty good, like I was expecting it to. So this ended up being 2 full coats on the bottom of the car, and I used way less than I thought I would have to. So I actually only used half of that kit that I got, which was 4 of the quarts of the Raptor Liner and then 1 hardener. So that's about like one of the regular size kits instead of the double kit that I got. So now I have basically effectively another kit that I can use for something else. But yeah, so that'll give you some reference. I did 2 like medium coats on the entire bottom of the car, and it came out pretty nice, I would say. I think you could definitely go thicker if you want to. It was like really late when I finished spraying, and I didn't feel like mixing any more or spraying another layer because I would have had to wait an hour for it to dry. But I think I got pretty good coverage on it. Everything is covered up pretty nice, so it should be good. It does help a little bit with the vibrations and the sound. It was a lot worse than this before, so that's good. That plus whatever sound deadening I have inside, I think should sound pretty nice. You can see the areas that I had the seam sealer over. At first I had it on pretty thick, and then I started going over with my finger eventually, but I think it all blends in with the Raptor Liner pretty well, and for the bottom of the car I don't think it looks too bad. But yeah, and as you can see, like I had all these little stubs masked off, and all the parts that all these bolts that have nuts that go onto them, and then also the part where the rear beam sits on, I masked that off so the surface would stay flush. And then as well as here for the subframe, I masked these parts off. So I'm actually not done yet. I'm actually going to go back through, mix some of that urethane top coat I have, and spray those parts so that they're also black. But everything else is pretty much done for the underside. You can see the wheel wells came out really nice. This was just me spreading the seam sealer with my finger. Like that looks pretty clean to me, clean enough at least for the underside of the car. And then like you can just see, you can pretty much see where all the other seams were, that they're a little thicker there, but everything overall blends together really nicely. So yeah, I'm really happy how this came out. I think it looks pretty good. I think it will definitely last a long time. So yeah, hopefully nothing, it's been already a couple weeks already, so nothing is looking like it's failing with the epoxy or with the Raptor Liner. So I think we should be good, hopefully. Like I think I explained earlier in the video how I had a few spots of the epoxy that had started to bubble up after a couple weeks. I guess there are some spots I forgot to clean or didn't clean thoroughly enough, or had some debris get under there, but I repainted those parts. This was one of them, and hopefully it's fine. Nothing comes through that I have to go through and sand down and redo. But hopefully it's looking good so far, so hopefully it keeps on that way. But I'll step over here into the inside of the car and show you. This is the top coat of that 2-part urethane top coat I sprayed. Gloss black, and this came out also pretty good. You can see as well here, the seam sealer is definitely showing through a lot more here on the parts that I had welded up and put seam sealer around. Over here you can blend in a little bit better, but this is a high gloss paint, so you can see a lot of the imperfections more clearly, but this is all going to be covered with carpet and trim and stuff, so I just wanted to get the paint protected, which it seems like it is doing a good job of so far. Again, this has been sitting here for a couple weeks now, and nothing crazy has been coming through. None of the spots are bubbling up or anything. So it looks like I got pretty good adhesion on the epoxy and the top coat, so I'm happy about that. One thing that didn't go too well was I think some of these spots. You can see here that I'm not sure what happened, but if I was spraying at this down angle with my gun, it got these little spots that would start to come through. And then when I was spraying up here at the top, like it was a little more smooth. You can see this is pretty smooth, but then when I've already angled my gun down, I got these little spots. So I'm not sure what was causing that. I'm sure someone in the comments will know if it was the angle of my gun, if there was like I guess any moisture that was trapped somewhere when I angled down that got sprayed out, or any debris or anything. If anyone knows what that could be, please let me know for the future, so I could try to prevent that from happening. Lucky this is the inside and it doesn't really matter. This will all get covered up, and at least the paint's protected. But yeah, just curious on what could cause that. So that happened up here, and then I also have some texture that came through back here, but this is just, this all sprayed pretty flat when I did the top coat, but this is just me rushing and not masking off any of these holes from doing the underside of the Raptor, and Raptor got sprayed in through here a little bit too, so now this has got a little bit of Raptor on it too. But this I'm not worried about. Again, a little bit covered up and everything's protected, so that's fine. Here's what the trunk well looks like. I had the seam sealer in there as well. This wheel arch came out pretty good. The back seat came out very nice. Everything is nice and clean. I don't see any spots that appear to be failing, so I would say that this was overall a success. You can see the firewall up here that I painted as well. Looks like it came out pretty good too. And the top for now is still just in primer. I'm gonna paint that later, or that has to be, need some body work done to it, and then primer and sealer along with the rest of the car, but that's for a future date. But as far as sealing the inside and the undercarriage, everything came out pretty good. I just remember this one spot too up here on the Raptor Liner. I think this is one of the first spots I started spraying, and you can see the texture looks kind of a little thicker, not as granular or as uniform as the rest does. It kind of like clumped together a little more here. I'm not sure what caused that, but I don't think it's any big deal. It still feels hard, like it cured properly. So yeah, I wish I could say if I was maybe had my gun too close when I first started out, but I think it might have been I had my gun too close and it was probably all bunching up together there, and I probably just backed up a little bit and then had more control of how the texture was getting put down. But other than that, I don't think anything else went too bad with the Raptor. It was actually really easy to spray with the Schultz gun. I just mixed up the hardener in that tube and then hooked it up to the airline, and it sprayed pretty well. But yeah, overall I'm really happy how it turned out. This is obviously a ton of progress that I've made. It looks super clean. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the inside being super clean and looking fresh now, and being able to be at a point where I could almost put the suspension back on, flip the car back over, and probably get it out of here, take down this booth and clean up a little bit. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I really like the way this Raptor looks. It's super fresh. It seems really durable. You can kind of hear it's really hard and scratchy, so I feel like it'll definitely avoid any rock chips or anything like that down the road. So yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna mix up some more of that urethane top coat, and then just go over and spray these with 2 coats real quick, so these can all be black and the bottom will be uniform, and just to give another layer of protection over just the epoxy primer where the rear beam and the subframe in the front sits. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then after that, the actual last thing is I have some, I forget what it's called. I'll get a can and see and show you, but it's just some liner to spray in these, inside the rocker panels and inside all these gaps you can't really get to to seal it up. But yeah, I'll show you that in a second as well. But yeah, I'm gonna spray that, and then I'll come back and show you when that's done, and then show you me spraying inside here as well. Okay, so I went through and got all those spots covered with that 2K urethane all black top coat. They covered pretty well, went down pretty smooth. As you can see, I got some overspray on the Raptor as well. It's kind of glosses up around it, but that's fine. It's just underneath the car. Everything's protected now, so that should be fine whenever the frame's sitting on it. Then also, like the smaller spots, this section here, and then this section here for the subframe, that's all covered now, and looks a little more uniform, and it's also more protection than just that one layer of primer. So now that that's done, I've let it sit for a couple days to cure. So now the next step and the final step will be to spray this internal frame coating from Rust-Oleum into all the crevices inside these little holes and stuff, and inside the frame rails, and up here too. Basically everywhere that I can't get in and do any rust repair with like a grinder wheel. So basically this is just gonna convert any rust that's in there. Right now it's gonna encapsulate it and seal it and stop it from rusting any further. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. All right, so I got this set up now. It comes with these little caps and this long nozzle that you can stick into the crevices like that. And then it has this little, don't know if you can see if it focuses, has this little tip on there that's got a bunch of little ports so it can spray in multiple directions. And so basically, actually let me check if I have to shake this first. Yeah, shake for 1 minute. So I'll shake it first. But basically you just stick the nozzle in any of these holes that you're trying to protect, put it all the way down, and then start spraying and then pull it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this up real quick, and then I'll show you guys how it sprays. All right, so I shook that up for about a minute, so now I'm going to try to get this in here and see how well it sprays. All right, so that was pretty easy. I'm just going to, I didn't get all the way in here now, so I'm going to stick this in the smaller hole and feed it through the rail. Whoa. Didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna grab a napkin real quick. So I spilled some on the outside of here, and it's actually like sets really quick and it's really sticky. So I'm gonna see what I can use to wipe that off. I'm gonna try some degreaser or something. All right, I got a rag with some wax and grease remover. Let's see if this wipes off of here. Okay, yeah, I think it came off for the most part. All right, nice. I'm just gonna be more careful when I'm spraying now. Try not to get it everywhere. All right, well guys, that was the last step for that. I got all the crevices sprayed with the liner, so I think it should be good now for any future rust. This stuff kind of did get everywhere if you weren't careful with it, so I recommend be careful if you're spraying that. It kind of came off with wax and grease remover, and then I wiped it again with the dry towel after that, and it's kind of fine. So just be careful if you have anything that you really don't want to get dirty. I'm on the underside of the car, so it's not too big a deal, but the inside of the car also kind of got some of it on there as well on the glass paint, and it was a little harder to get clean, so just be careful of that. But as for everything else, the Raptor is looking great. The new paint is good. The paint inside is also good, so that's pretty much the underside of the car completed as far as painting goes. So now I'm excited. I'm going to take down this big booth, probably flip the car back over so I can see it level again. And then from there, next steps will be suspension work. I'm going to start cleaning up the subframe and the rear beam so I can send it off to get powder coated. So like always guys, if you're interested in that or the rest of the build series, always leave a like and subscribe if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see the rest of the content. Subframe's coming up next. I might make a video about me moving this to my house. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but as always, thanks guys for watching and have a good day.